This is Newcap News with Lauren Poland.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Fighter jet fans, get ready. In a little over 2 weeks, Maple Flag at Four Wing is back. As Clayton Brown explains, despite the international event canceling last year, this time around over a dozen nations are expected to take part.
It's only weeks before Maple Flag kicks off, and after taking a year hiatus because of overseas operations, Four Wing officials are excited to host the month-long combat training once again.
The exercises, is kind of the hallmark of what certainly our office here does every year. So it's nice to have it come back after a 1 year absence, and certainly with all the effort we put into it, it's good to see it finally come to fruition.
This year's exercise marks the 45th anniversary for Maple Flag. It's expected nearly 1,600 military personnel from all over the world will be taking part.
We have the United States that's participating, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Netherlands. We're very excited to have Brazil actually joining us for the first time this year, and Singapore as well.
During the day-to-day operations of Maple Flag, the public is welcome to go on to the base to watch planes take off and land. Also on June 16th, families have the opportunity to get up close and personal with the pilots and their jets.
We really encourage, folks from Cold Lake and the surrounding areas to come on out, to meet our folks, have a chat with them, take the kids out, look at the airplanes, go sit in the airplanes, those kinds of things.
Maple Flag kicks off May 28th and wraps up June 22nd. At Four Wing Cold Lake, Clayton Brown, Newcap News.
It's been almost 10 months since Alberta made distracted driving against the law. But has much actually changed? As Mike Baden explains, the public and RCMP are concerned with the number of people still talking and texting behind the wheel.
Driving while distracted. Has much changed?
Oh, not at all. People are always still using their phone.
I don't think so at all. I still see lots of people driving around, texting, listening on their cell phones.
Absolutely not. I see tons of them. I live north of Lloyd, and I bet you I catch 15 people driving out, talking on their phones or texting.
And the Lloydminster RCMP are equally as concerned.
We'd like to say yes, but the fact of the matter is there are still too many people talking on their cell phones, also distracted in other ways aside from the cell phones.
As for Saskatchewan, the texting and talking while driving law was introduced in 2010, and the number of convictions for people driving without due care has stayed relatively the same.
Texting, any kind of distracted driving, those are fairly consistent from 2010 to 2011. So that's all types of distracted driving. In 2010, that number was 2,013. In 2011, that number was 2,060.
Constable Lemke says that the new law is similar to the seatbelt law put in years ago, and people continue to turn their heads on that one as well.
Yeah, it has been the law for seatbelts for years, and people still like to go without wearing them. I don't know that it's a blatant snubbing of the law. I think people just are distracted thinking about other things.
With no numbers tracked so far in 2012, the message is simple.
People just have to wake up and understand what the problem might be and the dangers that they're putting other people in.
Well, we'd like to get the point across that this law was put into place because it does save lives. People do die from using cell phones and texting while driving.
Mike Baden, Newcap News.
There's nothing like taking advantage of our beautiful spring weather and hitting the pavement for a walk. As Caree McCollough explains, that's exactly what the residents of North Battleford did yesterday, all in support of mental health.
Mental health professionals, patients, and supporters laced up their shoes and walked 6 kilometers in honor of Mental Health Awareness Week.
Sort of like a symbolic walk from people being in the hospital with mental illness and then kind of coming out into the community as they get better, and so that's kind of what the walk's about.
So it's just good to see them come together and participate in walks and other activities as well, and to make our community aware of what's going on.
Former mental health patient Richard Goodyear continues to be involved with supporting the cause and believes this walk is great for both patients and the community.
Encourages my mental stability, like what I'm going through at the time, because it raises awareness on the people in the community and the people that I surround myself with, and it's really just a great interaction.
Yeah, that's
The Mental Health Association hopes to continue to be successful in these important events.
The event went great this year. I think that we've had like more than 50 participants in our walk, which is up quite significantly from last year, so I'm extremely pleased with the turnout and the length of time that we took to come here, and it's just been a really great day.
Caree McCollough, Newcap News.
Gerard, it was another beautiful day today. Maybe not quite as warm as yesterday.
No.
But boy, was there ever wind.
Very windy at times, getting up to about 61 kilometers an hour. Basically a west-northwest, and anytime you say north, that means some colder air coming down from the top, certainly. Let's have a look here. All right, sitting at 10 at the moment. We did see a high of 11 today, so we're easing off rather slowly. The wind continuing to gust and move around. 20% is that humidity. And as we compare across the region, a steady buildup of cloud in Cold Lake and area. Some more too in the Battlefords, but not hopefully anything too by way of precipitation on those clouds, but the full details coming a little later in the cast.
Coming up, a very special delivery, Carnations for a Cause. With the countdown on until Mother's Day, the Lloydminster MS Society has been delivering flowers to local stores for its 3-day Carnation Campaign. Bart Pediasic has more.
Volunteers are out in full force as the MS Society sells carnations this week for a good cause.
All of the money raised through the Carnation Campaign stays right here in the Lloydminster community to support local programs and services that our chapter provides for people living with MS and their families.
The carnations are the MS Society's floral symbol of hope, representing faith that one day a cure for the disease will be found, which roughly affects 11,000 Albertans and 3,500 Saskatchewan residents.
The MS Society is employing over 100 volunteers to help out during the event. It may be hard work, but it's worth it at the end of the day.
I think that's why all of us volunteer, is just knowing that it's something that needs to be done. And it gives you a good feeling, knowing that you've possibly helped somebody.
The flowers will be sold until Saturday at various locations around the city. For more details, visit the website on the screen. Bart Pediasic, Newcap News.
Having the imagination to carve images from logs dates back centuries. In this week's Arts and Entertainment feature, Gerard Lampow introduces us to a local wood carver whose work has been displayed across the continent.
We caught up with Mason Eyben at his workshop in the Kitscoty area. He's been working with wood over 20 years and his influences are deeply rooted.
I've always been interested in old style carving, that whole technique, and some of the stuff that they carved back then is similar to what I'm trying to do here.
While he uses a lot of local wood, especially birch, he orders maple from BC and exchanges with other carvers in the area to fuel his passion.
Yeah, it's very easy to come out here. You know, you'll start out, you'll figure you maybe be out here an hour, and the next thing you know, it's 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, and you got to go to work the next day. So
Mason has some advice for young artists.
You have to do what moves you. Like, there's no sense trying to copy somebody. Do your own thing, and that's basically the biggest thing. And have fun doing it.
Gerard Lampow, Newcap News.
With the cost of tuition continually climbing, finding a balance between studying for a future career and working to pay for that education can often be hard. In this week's Chamber Chatter, Kelsea Bloxam looks at how the Chamber of Commerce lends a helping hand.
The nonprofit organization is well known for its contributions to the business community, but what you may not know is its continual support for students.
I received the McLean and the Dunstan scholarships. They're both scholarships for kids that are going to agriculture classes, pursuing a career in agriculture.
Now heading into her second year of university in Saskatoon, she says she first applied after hearing about the grants from her high school counselor.
I guess it helped me because I didn't have to stress about money. I just had to worry about school, and that's that's helpful.
And this recent Lakeland College graduate also received money through the Chamber's scholarship program.
Having that opportunity to get some extra money to put towards your tuition that you don't have to scrounge up from your own pocket or take out a student loan. So getting, I guess, free money from your community helps a lot.
But the benefits stretch even further than that.
Gave you a little bit more confidence that I do have the marks, I do have what people want to see in an employee.
The deadline for applications is May 31st, and the process can be as simple as filling out a form and providing reference letters. Kelsea Bloxam, Newcap News.
Chamber Chatter is brought to you by the Lloydminster Chamber of Commerce. Achieve results, a stronger voice.
Coming up, the United Way divvies up more than $150,000 to local organizations. That story just after the break.
Stocks and oil prices brought to you by Spectrum Restoration. When disaster strikes, don't wait. Call the professionals at Spectrum Restoration, a certified member of the Canadian Disaster Restoration Group.